Hey you guys, welcome back. I believe this is going to be the last video of this series, and I wanted to talk about a few things that go together. So, my name is Sasha Baldeosingh, if in case this is the first video that you're clicking on, and I'm a mental health clinical therapist here to talk to you about domestic violence. Be sure to check out the other videos that I posted and all of that good stuff. So for this video, I wanted to join looking at the myths of domestic violence and the causes of domestic violence, or what magnifies domestic violence. So one thing that I do want to state is that abuse is a learned behavior. It isn't something that is influenced by biological factors. It is a learned behavior. The first myth is that domestic violence is not that serious because all couples fight. It is true that all couples have disagreements at some point in their relationship. However, when that relationship consists of a lot of disagreements that is based on power and control, and once the relationship involves violence, that relationship is an unhealthy relationship. A relationship that is healthy does not focus on power and control. It does not revolve around power and control. A couple in a healthy relationship may have an occasional disagreement. However, the two parties still have respect, trust, and love for each other. With domestic violence, these disagreements, as covered in the second video, follows that abusive cycle of physical or sexual or emotional, psychological or financial abuse. The second myth is, if it was that bad, the victim would leave. Again, as we covered in the third video, there are many reasons why a woman and a man may stay with their abuser. The third myth is that domestic violence only happens with uneducated, poor, lower social class. Although there is some research that argues that poverty may increase the chances of domestic violence, it cuts across all boundaries, whether it be social, ethnic, sexual, cultural, religious, and professional. Many women who have successful careers can be abused and be caught in the same cycle of abuse. The next myth is that domestic violence happened because of alcohol or drugs or some other substance. Many times the use of or abuse of alcohol or drugs is perceived as the cause of violence. However, as I mentioned previously, abuse is a learned behavior. An abuser might say that they didn't know what they were doing because they were drunk or they were high. However, he or she is still responsible for their actions. It may influence an abusive episode or it may magnify an abusive episode. However, the actions belong to the abuser. The next myth is that the domestic violence occurred because the victim provoked the abuser. That if only she didn't insert some action here, he would not have abused her. So this myth very unfairly takes the responsibility of the abuse from the abuser to the victim. So it is a form of victim blaming. Allowing this myth allows this cycle of abuse to continue, the cycle of violence to continue. A next myth is it's nobody but the household's business, meaning that what happens behind closed doors should stay there. Now, this again creates an environment in which the abuser can thrive, making it an individual problem and not so much an issue that society faces, and lead to many serious injuries, many harmful acts being done to victims. And this includes the murdering of victims from their abusers. It plays on the notion that violence that happens within a family is private and out of the country's control, which then allows for the acceptability of violence as a way to solve conflict. Another myth is that if it's not physical, it's not domestic abuse. As I mentioned in the first video, there are many different types of abuse, and the psychological impacts of this abuse can be the same across all the different types of abuse.